Welcome back to Squawk. I'm Bruce Whitfield. I've got Nick Norman-Smith from Lentis Asset Management and David Shapiro from Sasfin with me this evening. More than 200 million rand was spent on civil claims during the 2012-2013 financial year. Some of the cases include wrongful arrests, rape, corruption and assault, and it comes after the South African Police Services had to report on how much they spent on their 63 billion rand budget. So we asked ourselves, is our tax money being spent wisely? It's a rhetorical question. Some of our tax money most certainly is spent wisely, but a lot of it does seem to be frittered away, David Shapiro, who may have an opinion on this.
Of course I've got an opinion. First of all, you know why I've got an opinion is that I'm an auditor and I know what a qualified account is, And I think probably, I don't know, I'm taking a rough figure, 85 to 90% of government agencies, organizations have qualified audit reports, which means they're not keeping proper books and records. So you can imagine where the money goes. We don't even keep proper books and records. So if you ask you how much is being misspent, you can't answer it because it's billions.
But the National Treasury put a number on it last year, I think, of 10 billion rand. But how do you get a number of 10 billion rand when you don't have adequate checks and balances in place in order to ascertain just how much money is being spent?
It's a very simple answer, Bruce. SAA, Eskom. Discussion over.
Post office.
Post office.
The most recent one.
If you can show me a government department, except the one that collects our tax money, that really functions at the level of corporates, well.
Okay, Department of Home Affairs. Would you give them a thumbs up?
Yes, and I think the reason that they're improving is that they've paid a lot of consultants to come in and sort it out, which I'm happy. At least it's done. But I think maybe we need more of that. Let's run it like the private sector.
Department of Public Works distributes 15 million pensions and social grants very successfully every month. There's another one.
Again, it's run by
Net One
EPS, and there's no controversy there. I think there are clearly services that are required, but let's run them like corporates and have the disclosure that we have like corporates, and then I'll be happy. But until then,
I have to tell a story. On Saturday night after the fast, my electricity was out, so I tried to get hold of City Power. I left it on hold. I watched the entire second half of Chelsea versus Everton while my phone tried to get through. You're holding on.
So your power is off. How did you watch Chelsea versus Everton?
Oh no, I've got a generator. Ellie's generator, one of the best investments I've ever made.
What, the shares or the generator?
The generator.
So did you buy the generator and buy the shares to offset the cost of the generator?
Yeah, well, they had a few spares left there.
But didn't they sit on a mammoth amount of stock?
I killed the entire bird life in my whole area from the fumes that come out of this generator. The diesel fumes, you just see the birds flopping out the trees.
It's not your fault, it's City Power's fault.
City Power's fault.
No, absolutely, and that is, and how long were you on hold for, incidentally?
Oh no, after the game was over, I just turned it off.
Went to bed.
No, I went to bed, that was it. They did come on. It came on at 2 o'clock in the morning. Or
and
something.
you know that because somewhere in the house, somebody's left there's someone in the house. The volume on the television is still on. But yeah, there is a lot of money being wasted. It was interesting yesterday to see Nedbank is suing the Department of Public Works over the Rushabangu disaster. And it's saying, hold on a second, you owe us rent, guys, 800 million rand. It's a nice big number, it's nice, big and scary, and obviously government's going to fight it. But
it just comes back to running proper books and records. If you ran proper books and records, if these divisions were properly run, can you imagine how much savings would actually sink to the bottom?
Yeah.
You've seen it in any company, any corporate. It's so easy to extract savings and that through inefficiencies, and we've just got it. It's endemic. It just it's almost like a malignant cancer in this country. So. That's why I always criticize the NDP. I say, just forget about those grand projects. Let's start building from the bottom. When we get the bottom right, these things will automatically take care for them.
One of Tom Boardman's projects, when he retired as the Nedbank chief executive, he wanted to run a project to get a qualified chartered accountant to every municipality in the country.
Yeah.
I don't think it's worked because not everybody wants to go and live in Pofada. And that would be the only way of resolving
and
it.
you're probably not going to be the most popular person when you arrive in Sam, like to show everyone how poor you've been doing your job.
Absolutely.
And as we've seen it can get violent and very dangerous, as we've seen in some of these municipalities.
In Gokwe recently, absolutely. These places are scary. So yeah, there's a lot of vested interest. It's a dangerous occupation. Let's look at some winners and losers. Let's go away from the politics and into the money. The biggest mover on the week, positive mover on the week in the top 100 shares was
Or Pioneer Foods, because I'm looking at your piece of
Yes, I
paper.
know you cheated. He's a scoundrel and a vagabond. But Pioneer Foods up 8%. Now, Pioneer Foods is the least loved food company on the JSE.
I'm
Isn't it?
surprised that it's turned
Yeah.
around.
Well, the
'Cause
share price
the
has turned
trading
around, yes.
statement wasn't all that encouraging. They didn't give you any earnings. What they did say is that things were improving slightly. So it means that they're not going to increase their profits by more than 20%. So it's under 20%, which I suppose for a food company, if it's over 10, is okay.
Okay, Bola World up 6%. Pick and Pay, Pickwick, the Ackermans share of Pick and Pay going up rather nicely, up about 6% on the week. Pick and Pay itself, though, doesn't feature anywhere in the top 20.
Yeah, I think there's a view out there that we're going to see a turnaround. For me, it's a couple of years away. I'm not into recovery stocks or hospital stocks, and I think this is a hospital stock. It's going to take them a long time to get it right.
And also, it's not priced. I quite like the recovery stocks if they're good businesses and they're cheap and everyone hates them. But Pick and Pay is not priced like it's about to go. The recovery is priced in and more in a sector that's quite expensive. So I think the downside is still way outweighs the
Talking
upside.
about downsides, gold shares. Gold shares have been pummeled over the last week, and up until yesterday, some of them were down between 7 and 10%. And then, of course, we had this huge gold rally overnight after Ben Bernanke stopped speaking. Suddenly, the gold price went from 12.97 up to 13.50, 13.60 or thereabouts. And gold shares today have rallied about 10%. So they would be in our top gainers courtesy of an overnight move. But, I mean, that's just how fickle not only markets are, but gold shares in particular.
Yeah, but if you
gold
also
price.
look at a 10% rally off the bottom and the base that they're in, it's you still if you bought them any time recently, you're still going to be under
Other than
significant.
this
I
obviously.
Bruce, I looked, in fact, I was just looking at year performances, and I think gold shares are still down in the region of 40-50% from
They're
a
still-
year ago.
They have outperformed African Bank.
That's the worst. That
Yes.
is the worst. And that's a company that's going to head even lower. And we're waiting to see what the rights issue price is going to give you an indication of where people are prepared to support this company.
Oceana and Avenge, also in the fallers. Avenge's trading update came out this time last week, and the market's just gone, you know what, we don't like it.
No. Oceana worries me because I hold it, and I've had such a good run of it.
Is there something fishy at
I'm I'm learning to like Lucky Star Pilchards. I've got to support the
Those
share.
pilchards, but I mean, you hear stories of those pilchards. It's phenomenal. People get allocations for it. They can't sell enough. They literally have to allocate it to the shops. It's such a
Lucky Star
precious
Pilchard.
commodity. Yeah.
There's nothing better than pilchards on toast.
It's high protein,
With a little
it's
bit of
relatively
yeah.
cheap. You can stretch your can of Pilchards a long way. Don't underestimate the Pilchards. Would you buy some Oceana shares on that basis?
Oh, no. Actually, to be honest, I'm not sure where they're priced right now.
Would
but
you
I don't think
rather buy a tin of Pilchards and eat it with a fork out of the tin, or buy the shares?
No, I think I'd go along with gearing, Bruce.
You've got two choices. You can buy the share, or you can buy a tin of Pilchards.
I think I'll buy the share then, rather.
Okay, well,
Self-preservation.
exactly. Oh, it's so selfish. Thanks to my guest, David Shapiro from Sasfin, and Nick Norman-Smith from Lentis Asset Management. Join us again next week as we continue to talk about markets, to shake the walls of the trading environment, and sometimes we talk about cans of fish. Until next time, from me, Bruce Whitfield, have a very good evening, and don't think about Pilchards too much.